Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here just to do an update on the dehydrators that I use. I use two different types, one being the wood stove drying rack that Patrick made for me quite a few years ago, so that during the winter months, whenever we have a fire going, I can be doing some dehydrating right next to or even on top of my wood stove. If you'd like more information about that, I'll be linking to the video on that rack. And I got a couple different ones, and one shows Patrick making it, how to make it, so I'll link to that. And just using old bed rails, and the others are my Kasori. So I have two, as you can see here. Now, before I got these, I was using the Nesco round ones, the circular ones. Apparently they have a cabinet style now. I haven't looked into it. I have nothing to say about that because I don't know anything about their newer ones. But I've used Nescos for years and years. My very first dehydrator I got, it had a different name, but it was made by the same company that makes the Nescos, and that one lasted me for a very, very long time. I picked up another one brand new so I could have more trays and another dehydrator, because as years went along, I found myself dehydrating more and more stuff. And then at garage sales, I found two more that were hardly even used, one for $5 and one for $3. Now, there's a lot of things I like about that stackable dehydrator, and that how you can rotate the trays, put as many as you want, put the things at the top that take longer to dehydrate and the things that dehydrate quicker at the bottom or are more likely to burn. And that I liked that aspect of those, but one by one, each of those, the motor on each of those died. The trays cracked and started falling apart. And so, the trays being all plastic. Before my last one died, I had somebody recommend, one of my followers recommend this one to me. Now, she is someone who has the Excalibur, the Nesco, and this one as well. And she says out of the three, this one was her favorite. So I thought, well, I might as well give it a try, because I don't know how much longer this remaining dehydrator is going to last. And I'm so glad that I did. I bought the bottom one here first, and right away was quite happy with it. One of the things that makes this style of dehydrator different than the Nesco and nicer is that you actually have a timer on it, so you can shut off automatically, where none of my Nescos had that. You could adjust the temperature, but you couldn't set a time. So in case you forgot about it and it ran all night long, and some stuff got overdone. But also it's nice because it gives you a better idea on how long it takes for different things to dehydrate. Now, I always have my automatically set at 12 hours. And right now my temperature is set at 125, simply because I'm doing a lot of fruits and vegetables now. Most of my herbs are done. I do not dry my herbs at this temperature, but my apples, my zucchini, my peppers, as you can see here, three of the things I'm currently putting up. Well, this is my last jar of zucchini, but I'm going to be starting apples today and doing more peppers and tomatoes, anything like that. I'm going to turn this off since I don't have anything in there. I just wanted to show you how that works. And I like also the way it flashes back and forth, shows you the temperature it's at in case you forgot, but also the time, like what's remaining on there. So that is a really great option that I prefer over the Nesco. I also like the shape of it and everything. So I've had this, I think, 3 years, or I'm on my third year with this one, and this one I'm on my second year. So because the very next year I decided to buy another one, and by then they had the bigger size. So this is a smaller size. It is a 6 tray. It's just smaller this way. I might be the same depth, but it's smaller. The bigger one is wider. I would say it is comparable to the size of an Excalibur. I think the trays would fit. I think they're about 14 by 14 inches. I don't know the exact measurement of these trays, but they are more narrow. So I'll show you what the trays look like. Now, one of the benefits of the Kasori is it's all stainless steel. The holes are going to be a little bit bigger than in some certain dehydrators, but that is why you'll see me using these linen covers that I made. I started out making cotton ones out of old sheets, but then decided to switch to linen. The cotton worked great, and the fact that they were sheets was great is because your natural fat fibers are going to be more breathable, and sheets are naturally lightweight anyway. Then I decided to switch to linen. And I still have my cotton ones. I'll still use them. I also use them on my wood stove rack as well. So there's multiple reasons for me using the cloth. And one is for when you're doing small things like herbs, the cloth will keep it from falling through the rack. And it also just makes it easier. Like when I'm doing the zucchini, I do the zucchini and the apples on these. But the zucchini in particular, because I cut it in little small pieces. And you do kind of have to unstick them from here, but it's not bad. And then I gather it all together. I roll this up and then pour it into my jar. It's just super easy that way, instead of trying to pull them individually off the tray itself, off the racks. So a lot of your other dehydrators just come with plastic trays instead of stainless steel. Like, I don't know if Excalibur's changed, but I know they would come with the plastic trays, and then if you wanted stainless steel, you'd have to spend even more money to get the stainless steel trays to replace the plastic. I think you can now buy them with the stainless steel, but you're going to be paying a lot more. Now, I paid for these around $140 a piece USD. I can't remember what the price of the larger one is, but you'll see it, and prices change. They often have discounts and coupons, but I'll put the link to the Kasori down below, and you'll find both sizes in that link. So one of the other things I like about this particular style is the way the door just easily opens, easily closed, no fiddling with trying to put something in place or lifting off the top like you have to do with the Kasori. And then you can just slide out your individual trays and look at them one at a time. So one of the things that I found that I could do with this, so for example, with the Nesco, I'd have to put the heavier stuff on top, the things like the fruits and vegetables, and then the herbs way down at the bottom. And that way I could dry a whole bunch of different types of things at the same time. And I liked that feature. However, I can do something similar with this, but also the fact that I have two, I can do herbs in one at a lower heat, 115. I never go above 115 for herbs typically. And then with this one, I could do fruits and vegetables and have it set at a higher heat. But if you've got some more delicate things that you're needing to dry and you don't want them to burn, and you just have a few, like I might have just a few calendula flowers. Well, I can still set it at the higher heat. Calendula flowers usually need a little bit more anyway, and then maybe set them on one of the trays closer towards the front, because your heat and fan are in the back. Now, technically, most of this stuff will dehydrate at about the same rate, but sometimes I find that the top tray does dry a little bit faster. So I also make sure that I put the most delicate things on the bottom. Now, here was another thing I recently figured out is that so this is 6 tray, and I found a little trick that I could do because I was drying, I think it was zucchini, it was tomatoes. I was drying a bunch of tomato flakes, and I still had a few herbs I wanted to dry. So what I did was I put the herbs on one of the my linen covers here, because I have several of them, and then laid that at the very bottom of the Kasori, and then still had the 6 trays. So it was like having 7 trays, and that worked out really well. And I was able to make the most of the space, and they fit in there just fine. And it didn't cause any issues blocking anything off, because like I said, everything's coming from the back. So let me take these out so you can better see what's back there. You can see the fan in there. So that's where the element is there behind the fan. So it's blowing the heat across your produce there. Now, another thing that I do, like when I'm doing the tomato flakes, since I puree up the tomatoes, what I do is I have these silicone, I have 2 different brands, because I started with these. These were the first ones I could find that actually had a lip on it for doing liquids. But then they started making more and more different brands, coming out with some that were cheaper. Now, I like the brown ones a little bit better. I paid a lot more for the green ones. But then when they came out with these, they were a lot better price. I had to buy these in threes, so I had to buy 2 packs of 3 to get 6. But then I came across the brown ones. Here, they had a little bit higher lip on them, and they're just a little bit thicker, and they were a better price, and I could buy 6 in a pack for a lot less than I bought this Bright Kitchen brand, the teal. And now I think the prices of the teal one have come down, but I will link to this below. Now, they also make this one to fit an Excalibur, or should also fit in the larger Kasori, because it's about a 14 by 14. And then in the Bright Kitchen, they also make the round ones, because I had round ones. I sold them to somebody because I got rid of all my Nescos since I don't work anymore. And they do make those donut shaped ones for the Nesco. And so that was the one thing about the Bright Kitchen. Now, it could be some of these other brands might be coming out with that shape as well. But anyway, so these are really great for setting onto your racks and drying your liquid items. So I use these for, like I said, the tomatoes, dehydrating eggs. I've dried milk this way, dehydrated milk, whole milk. And bone broth, soup, or even things that just tend to be wetter and stickier. So I've dehydrated my homemade chili and other such things using these. So the silicone is really nice to have. It's a great option. But for anything I don't have to worry about being too sticky and wet or running through, I use the linen. And I just cut it to the approximate size and then just hem them to fit on the racks. So I just wanted to share that real quick. This is what I use. If you'd like more information about dehydrating, I'll link to my full dehydrating playlist in the description box down below, but also I'll be linking to some specific things so they're easier to find, like the most recent one I did on different ways to dehydrate. Because especially if you live in a real dry climate, you do not have to have an electric dehydrator. Here, it's very wet and humid, and I'm doing so much dehydrating that I need something that I can run. Because through the harvest season, I am running these things all the time. Thankfully, we have good solar power collection is spring through fall, so that I can run these on the solar power. But if you can't afford to buy an electric dehydrator, there are many other ways to dehydrate where you don't even have to buy anything special. So I'll make sure I link to that video on the top. And then again, you'll find the Kasori link, the link to the silicone, and the link to the full dehydrating playlist, so you can see all the different types of things that I dehydrate and how I do it and the temperatures I typically use for such things. So I hope you enjoyed this, and it was for the purpose of answering a common question I get. People like to know what I use, so here it is. And please share your thoughts and ideas, what you like to use, in comments down below so others can learn from you as well. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.